Welcome to a common podcast where we try to make common sense more common. I'm Mel,
I'm Son.
I'm Gautham.
And I'm Aiden.
and today's we're going to be talking about do what you love or what makes you happy.
And what is happiness?
But let's first talk about our one true love. One Piece.
So I know
So-
I don't know too much about One Piece.
This isn't necessarily spoilers, because we're about just kind of going to get into like the beginning of One Piece. But like in terms of do what you love or what makes you happy,
No one's happy with One Piece.
yeah, no one's happier than Luffy.
That's how you're gonna.
No one is
No one-
happy with One Piece.
You tell them.
No one is happier than Monkey D. fucking Luffy, bro. Okay, when you think about happiness, there's not a single person without a smile, and part of that is Luffy has known since day one what he wanted to do, and he's doing what he wants to do. Right? Not just being a pirate, being free.
That's his whole thing.
That's his whole thing, is being free, right? So by being a pirate, he's getting his final goal, getting his happiness. And we want to talk about that, in accordance with your own life, how to take that lesson from a show and put that into your life.
I mean, a lot of lessons one can learn really well are from shows, It's just the way of imparting tradition has changed.
I mean, that's just what we call art. It's just that
Exactly.
art has been bastardized, and nowadays, now the only true
If you think you're an AI artist, get out of here.
bro. There's a reason why most children they find themselves through TV shows. Like they idolize certain characters and to try to be like them because that's like people grow up on TV
How do
nowadays.
you
And
I call myself Son, bro? I'm going to become Son. That's the goal.
that is why he calls himself Son. That is the name. I'm just Mel. Because that just makes sense. But yeah, Luffy, he's doing what he loves. He's out going on seas, exploring his freedom, finding his crew.
Self-actualization.
Yes,
That's
self-actualization
the point.
through exploration,
Exactly.
which is something we don't do a lot of nowadays because people too hunker down trying to chase some kind of bag or whatever. They don't really try to find
I
themselves.
think in a world full of spikes, it's hard to say, I'm going to let myself be vulnerable. It's in this world, it's hard and it is not encouraged to be truly vulnerable, right? We always have this veneer of the social conduct, the social contract, right? Pulling it back to old French, going it back, right? Philosophy. It's as simple as there is a way that you're expected to act and expected to show yourself. And one of the biggest issues with the way society in this current state views people is you have to follow what is known as the true social way to interact.
and that's why doing what you love / what makes you happy is so important because we already do so much to stay within the status quo that once we're done with the 9 to 5 or whatever it is that pays the bills, that rest of your time, hell, if your work doesn't align with what you value, a lot of people end up being miserable. So if your outside life as well, you don't take care of essentially what you spend your time on, or you're not doing what you love, finding a good hobby, your life is miserable, bro. That's how people hit midlife crises in their 30s.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. Because you're telling me you wanted to spend your entire life
in a cubicle or talking about finances for 24 years? Not always. Yeah. Exactly. So a lot of people are forced to be in that kind of same schedule day in, day out. And if it's not doing something they like, the monotony is going to drive you insane quickly. So, a big part of what we want to impart is that there are multiple forms of happiness, right? It can be short or long-term happiness, and it depends on what you're looking for in that moment.
And that comes from doing that comes from fuck me. Excuse me, y'all. I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. But as I was saying before I somewhat lost my train of thought, that's essentially why doing what you love is so important, y'all. You keeping your mental headspace centered helps you not only show up better for others, but for yourself. You got to start with yourself first. If you don't take care of yourself, then we only have ourselves at the end of the day. You don't die with anybody else. You die by yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, then it's just you're not really in line with yourself, your space in the universe.
I actually want to ask you, Aiden, because you
Yeah, you're
are
very-
a grad student, right?
right?
I am a grad student. Yeah,
In, as you could say, what are you learning?
public history is what I'm in school for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does that pay well? I am purely asking.
I would for this. I would say not the best.
Fair.
For like general like history in
Yes.
general. Does
But
not.
do you like what you do?
I do love what I do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are you personally excited about your next opportunity?
I am. Yeah, and I started university thinking I was going to go into industrial organizational psych purely for money. Actually, it's the highest paying psychology track you can do. It's
I was
purely
planning on
corporate.
doing the same
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing you see. You tell someone, other psych major, oh, like I'm in the IO psych track. Like, oh, you want the money? And you're like, yeah, I do want the money. But then I changed like my junior year because I was taking all these history classes, and I was like, wow, this is actually like way more interesting and way more satisfying than like reading these really boring psychology reports. Like I had to do actually took an IO psych class. I had to do a literature review, and that was the worst thing I like ever had to do in college.
You know what's funny about
It was
that?
so boring.
The main reason why they pay so well is because it's work that nobody else truly wants to do. And
Yeah.
if you truly love what you do, like even if you're an art history major, you can still make it. It's just that if you truly have the passion for it, you're gonna grind at it, and you're gonna get your ass like in the spot where you can act. Like if you love what you do, the money will come. It's just might not take like a year for someone who's like comp sci or like 5 years for someone who's a med student, but it'll come, like whether it's like within 2 years, 10 years, like as long as you keep like charging through the path and finding your support system, you'll be
One of
fine.
the biggest things is understanding what passion really means. You know, passion truly means I'm going to keep with this no matter what. I'll fall, I'll stumble. I'm going to keep going because I love it for what it is.
Mhm.
You know, I don't love it because what it does for me, what it teaches me, none of that. I love this subject, whatever that is, for the reason that it exists.
Mhm.
That is what people need to understand about passion.
Can you speak on that personally?
Let me give a little bit of an insight into this because I was pre-med, and most of the things I was kind of pursuing was like the money stuff. But my main passion in medicine has always been like the health and fitness, like actually healing people. And I realized there's other ways to do that without like fully going into the med side. Because like when I was going through med, I was essentially just like, yo, I want to do, if it was an orthopedic surgery, like I was fully down with that. But I was trying to do like the big money stuff, like the anesthesiology or dermatology. But there's hella competition for that stuff. So like, you'd be essentially wasting, like you'd be sacrificing your mental sanity to for like the slim of a chance to be placed into like the most lucrative sides where that's where all the competition is. But I kind of found, I always knew I had a passion for technology and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. If I play my cards right, I can kind of like pursue this. So that's why, like, especially with comp sci, like you see a lot of people go, like comp sci is another major where you can get money and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people there who are in it purely for the money, and you can see that they don't last very much. So, but for me, since I actually had a passion for it, like I'm willing to deal with the bullshit that comes with it. Because like, I mean, hell, I was willing to deal with the bullshit that comes with med school. So like, honestly, the way I see it, it's literally just like, hey, I'm no longer having to waste 4 years in school. Now I'm literally just like kind of just building more skills to pursue what I'm doing.
And I want to say that as someone who is truly in computer science for money, a kind of good idea is find something in something. If you don't like something, find something that you do like in it.
Yeah,
Because I'm a cybersecurity major. I love cybersecurity.
Oh yeah, bro. I am not a developer by all
any
means, bro.
means. Don't
Fuck
put
code,
programming in front of me.
I can code, but if I was doing that
I
shit
don't
for
want
work,
to.
I swear to God, I'd be
Don't do
bald.
that.
I would be pulling my hair out.
It'd be
'cause
insane.
just the debugging would piss me off.
It already is busy.
Yeah, but the only reason why I even pursued computer science as a major in the first place was because of cybersecurity. Because I'm
Yep.
like, yo, hacking is the cool shit.
Not even
bro.
just
Like,
hacking, like understanding.
I mean, originally when you're fucking like 16 years old, you're like, hey, I want to be the hoodie hacker.
Yeah,
whatever. Like,
exactly, but nah.
like afterwards, I kind of matured a bit. Realized, hey,
Yeah.
I like the defense side of it because that's
Exactly.
where that's where the fun is.
I like personal blue side where you specifically work on defense, but also work on small attacks, like where you're looking at people with smaller issues or not as large, big hacks.
That's kind of again,
Yeah.
what you love. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
whether it's comp sci or like
Pre-med
or
history.
history. Like
finding something you actually love is should be the goal. And in general, a lot of people are not taught that. A lot of people are told, you're in school to learn. Everything is to learn.
You learn
We are-
what? That's a great
Exactly.
question.
We are not learning to love what we learn, right? Everything is pushed for a grade. Everything is pushed for.
There's so much knowledge in the world that like no one person can, unless you spend your entire 50 years just going around and just educating yourself. No one person can have that much knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's where society comes into play. You have people that specialize into certain things that you can kind of share that knowledge with each other. But
you also should be chasing knowledge wherever you go.
Yeah, I think
that is one of the best ways to love.
If we're supposed to be learning something, it's learn what? What do you want to learn? It's just if you don't care about what you're learning, then you're not actually going to truly retain that knowledge.
That's my entire issue with the system that we learn with right now, because we are not right now. The way we teach people to learn is not by, you need to, you're learning this because you are actually interested. You're learning something because we said you need to learn this, and you are graded on it based on this specific set of instructions, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone learns the same. A lot of people learn differently. We all four learn differently. Him and I, even though we're comp sci, we don't break down things the same way. Farthest thing from. So it's
I go at it in a crazy ass sense in terms
yeah.
You're going down.
Yeah, I do it as in I'm doing it segmented. If I'm tired, I'm done right now. I'm not coming back. I'm not staying right now. Exactly. He's not stopping. The sheer amount of stuff you have to get through. Because I'm around him a few times, so I have to see the sheer amount of resources him as a history major has to just get through.
Yeah,
okay?
you got to compile a lot of shit.
Also,
That
this
knowledge
man is a South Asian and Middle Eastern focus. So all of this is languages he either can't read or is just starting to learn how to read. So it is truly insane just watching this guy be like, yeah, cool, I'm just reading Urdu. Just out of nowhere. Yeah, Urdu and Arabic. And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, but then that gives you certain true life skills that you can apply actually with people rather than in a fucking office building just on the computer. You're actually interacting with people. That's where people mostly get their fulfillment when they're actually interacting because we're societal creatures.
How does your fulfillment feel?
Yeah, so I'm in public history, and that's really history as it exists in the realm of the public sphere. So how academia interacts, how knowledge is made accessible for people, how governments kind of control and push narratives, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, there's a lot of interacting with people. So there's a lot of oral history, which I've participated in a little bit of. I'll be doing a lot for my upcoming thesis and my master's project. So because of that, you have to when you learn these languages like Arabic and Urdu, a lot of times you're learning it so you can talk to people, because a lot of times they don't know English.
Yeah.
Especially in the regions I'm working with. But sitting through all the papers I'm reading all the time, that's just part of being a liberal arts major, I think, is instead of coding or memorizing flashcards, and you're just reading a fuck ton. It's just so much reading. But I really enjoy what I'm reading though. So I think that's how I get through it. Is I love the topics. A lot of times I've heard of the authors before, so I'm like, oh, it's this person again.
So it's connections throughout it, so you can be this author wrote this. This is also similar works, things like that.
Yeah, and then of course I'm reading a lot of this for my own thesis, or the book I have in front of me. All that stuff is recommended by some of my professors, and it's about more my personal development as well, so I can get kind of that personal element. I read this piece, is a really short essay by the History Association of America or something, and it was talking about why you should study history. Most of it was to try to say it'll help you in your corporate life, which I thought was really dumb because I don't think it will. But there's a really, really small section on identity and figuring out who you are in the world, where you came from. And that's a really important part of history, but it got 4 sentences on this entire essay.
Yeah.
But I think that also speaks to what the world prioritizes right now, especially in the West.
Yes.
The knowledge that we prioritize, we don't prioritize internal knowledge of looking within us.
Yeah.
And I think history does a lot of that, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like history because it
I-
involves that.
I think that's also why we repeat history so much.
Exactly, because history teaches us about ourselves as,
Yeah.
as humans, as thinking
Beings, and it's
Yeah.
also history shows us as our true selves.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't hide from history.
I think there's so much guilt with history.
Yeah,
I
it helps
think.
us like understand the patterns of humans in terms of like, oh, this is what leads to this kind of behavior, and just that the more we try to like cover up that kind of history, the more we repeat it, and that's usually what happens. It's because like people don't actually understand history, so we're just doomed to repeat.
I
Honestly,
think a lot of us, as being adjacent to psych, we have a psych major here, psych minor, and you two have been adjacent to psych a lot of your lives. I know we've all heard about collective consciousness and Carl Jung, all of his theories and stuff. But in my opinion, it does
You want to bang your mother.
exactly good stuff like that, you know. But in reality, it does come down to it a lot.
Yeah.
In the fact that as a history, we've made these mistakes before.
Mhm.
It just an understanding of where you come from and where you're going is one of the biggest things to understanding how I can make happiness in this one moment,
Mhm.
right? You got to understand what you've done in your life.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be, oh, these are the mistakes I've made. This is where I fucked up. Cool. You got those. But where have you gone right? What have you done right in your life?
Mhm.
That's got to be the first thing that you're acknowledging to yourself. You got to be like, damn, I found myself on this path.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if that's a bad path. It doesn't matter if it's like of course there's bad paths, but there's in truth, there is everything right.
Are you looking
in
at a
your life.
baddie right now?
Yeah, of course it was. We're gonna have to edit this now.
Yeah, put this out.
Yeah. Now we got four single.
Gooning break.
Apologies.
Unfortunately, you were saying something in the middle of it.
Yeah, I know.
You did it again.
I know.
Literally,
Yes, dude, because do you know what it is like with driving with him?
Yeah, it is-
Driving with
it is
him is
bad.
insane.
I'm so glad.
It's like a dog seeing a squirrel.
Exactly,
Like a
yeah.
small fleeting creature.
It is exactly.
It's a fucking Bugs Bunny.
You guys are fucking running after.
Yeah. Goon in the air.
They look like collar that says like crap coconut.
That's gonna be my next change. It's good. Yeah, but damn, where were we? Jesus.
Okay. Because it's your editing that's gonna have to fix this. But all right, that's the funny part.
We need some little extra work today.
Yeah, exactly. We're not editing this episode. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. This one will not be edited.
Come back to this and be like, damn.
We were dumb. Yeah, you're gonna have to somehow edit to like this moment.
It's
All right,
easy.
cool.
easy.
But coming back to, I don't even remember what I was saying. But it's the point of finding a happiness.
Find
That
yourself
is-
on the path you're on.
Exactly. Understanding where you've come from, where you're going, right? The biggest thing in life is, okay, are you meeting your goals, right? That's what people say is if you're happy if you've met your goals. But the thing is, goals are always changing. You as a person should be meeting a goal every day. The thing is, you need to make realistic goals for that day. It can be a goal of, okay, straight up, I'm going to make sure that every single day I'm eating 3 square meals, or every single day I'm taking a shower, or something like that, right? The thing about the world we live in and finding happiness is it's not even the small things. It is learning to find happiness in something that's rote, something that is monotonous or something like that, right?
Because that's the daily life.
Yeah. Excitement is
Fleeting.
exactly a flash in the pan. The only way to find true happiness is loving the simple things.
It's literally just falling in love with the process. That's literally all it is. Like once you truly understand the process and you realize, hey, this is like essentially what I want, and this is where I'm gonna get to where I'm going. You start to love the process because it's like, hey, this is what helped me get there, and I'm constantly working at it. And it's just like, if you don't truly enjoy the process or like just actually like understand what it is, that's you're at the whim of your emotions, honestly.
And when people say, find a job that you love, that's what they're really talking about. Find something that has a task or
Not even just that. 'cause
something
here's the
that's
thing.
in it.
everything has problems. Your life is gonna have problems. It's just that you choose what problems you want to deal with. You can't avoid it. Like everything is hard, bro. Like, but choose your hard. If you choose a hard thing that you actually love, it's gonna be easier for you to get through it rather than like, oh, I'm gonna choose this hard thing because I heard it's a good hard thing to get into and it has better outcomes. But I really don't like it. But it's going, and then you're going like your mental is gonna get fucked up. Your health is gonna get fucked up. And because your health is gonna get fucked up because you're physically not even gonna want to really do anything.
You're
So-
legitimately not gonna want to.
Yeah, so like literally, all you're gonna do is you just go to that thing that's draining you, and then go home and try to find a way to somehow revive yourself, rather than if you choose something you actually enjoy. Everything is hard, bro. Like it's just more so if you choose something you actually enjoy, then it's good. You'll find that it's easier to actually get through it, and then you can find your community from there, and then it becomes easier once you get into the thick of it. It's just that we've kind of been deterred from that kind of path, like finding like what you actually enjoy, and more so to like a capitalistic type thing. Hey, find what makes you money so you can spend money.
Yeah.
To talk about that, actually,
That's why you'll often hear people like, "Oh, how can I get a side hustle?" Or like, "How does my hobby make me money?" Don't think like that. Straight up, don't look.
Let
at
your hobby be a hobby.
Let your hobby be a hobby.
It doesn't have
You don't need to make money
off.
off your hobby. Like, for example, I play competitive video games, right? I haven't won anything from them, not because, oh, yeah, I of course have never made it to a position where I'm
You
making
suck,
money
yeah,
because I
you're
suck.
terrible.
But it's also because most of the games that I play don't make money. Like, they are not there for people to make money. Yes, have professional players made careers off them? Yeah, by luck. No one's making money off Smash Bros, bro. No one is.
this is a very good.
The
game.
number one player in the world, only because that they are like, given a team, they make maybe 10K. Every single tournament makes max $1,000.
That's
That's it.
nothing.
The main
That's
enjoyment from playing Smash is just spiking someone on that last stock, like, making their ass fall through that stage, and just being like,
It's just the guy who SDs every.
yes, I'm the one fucking, I'm fucking doing that to myself.
Does it and then kills himself.
Yeah, I'll hit a schnazzy, like I'll have a schnazzy stock. I'm talking like
Yep.
like Goku on like Ultra Instinct level, just like going hard, and then afterwards, just back to dumbass.
Yep.
Easy. Somehow I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. Yeah,
This guy
no.
killed himself straight after.
I've been legit, dude.
The universe has to have
Yeah.
balance. Yeah.
I've been trying to get him to play like that all the time, but he can't. It's like it's too much power for his body.
Too much
Like,
You can't sustain it.
It's literally like Goku with UI, where he fucking breaks his body. Oh, by the way, have you heard Jiren is Muslim?
Who?
Jiren?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is?
Yeah, I know.
The big
Yeah, the
dude.
big dude, the one
Show him a
that
picture of
actually
Jiren.
goes
Let me show you a picture.
Now you search up Jiren.
Wait, is this like an anime character?
Yeah.
Wait, they have like religion in Dragon Ball?
No, people have decided that he is.
Oh, they just made him Muslim.
It's like
okay.
people saying that Piccolo is black.
Oh.
All my power comes from Allah.
I like he's getting the Palestine.
They have the Palestine.
Yeah.
He's at Al Aqsa
Free
too.
Yes,
Palestine.
It's free
sir.
Palestine.
But anyway, so yeah, there are multiple. Jiren's Muslim.
I still have no idea.
Piccolo is black. But yes. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
Simply the freedom of choice is what it boils
Freedom of
down to.
well,
choice.
we were just on a rant about fucking Smash
Yeah.
spikes and doing what you love.
I would like to pause an interesting question.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we've been using love as like a synonym for enjoyment.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we could maybe separate those two. So we have like we've been saying like find something you enjoy, like enjoy the actual act of. For me, it's like historical research. For you too, medical stuff, like comp sci stuff. Things like that. But I wonder if we can think of love more like in an internal way. Love being either for like personal development.
You're actively what you're working.
Yeah, and also like internal discovery, because
Yeah.
there's kind of like a notion
Yeah.
in
I mean, the more you find
Yeah.
yourself, the more you actually learn how to love yourself,
exactly,
which is what most people don't know how to
Yeah.
do. That's kind of comes with like, taking care of yourself and your mental. If you don't know what you actually like, because that self discovery, like you're talking about, most people don't do. Once you do that self discovery, you actually figure out yourself. You know how to love yourself. You start to respect yourself a bit more. That's where you kind of start like protecting your peace, or like start creating boundaries because you know what you do and don't like.
I think a big part of that is
Learning to create a boundary between work, your normal life, and even sometimes the people in your life, right? We need to, as humans, we need to have better boundaries in general. Oftentimes we let work bleed into our normal at-home life. Oftentimes, we let our emotions dictate a lot of how we are reacting to these things. And a lot of that is because we are so stressed out every moment of the day. So a lot of people don't have the luxury of being able to change their job real quick, if they're not doing something they love. So being able to separate that might be also similar to finding what you love.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it also boils down to you will never find a job that is 100%, that you can love like anything else, because that's not the point of that, right? The point of even our life in general is to find everything else. There's
Life is
more
not
than that.
work.
Exactly.
Because finding a job that you love, that will definitely help, because
It makes it easier.
most of what you do in your day is work. So if you actually like what you do, it'll kind of help. But at the end of the day, that's not what you should be focusing on. Your work is not like Aiden was talking about, like that internal discovery is the most important part. Like finding yourself, that inner peace. Once you truly start doing that, it's not going to be a quick journey. Like I've gone on that journey myself. I've been on that journey. Took me 2 years, honestly.
And it's not done.
It's not really done. I'm still kind of developing, but I wouldn't even truly say I found myself. I just found enough to know what I don't want.
Yeah. And then, so the books I've been reading, there's been a lot of Sufi theology and philosophy. So Sufism is kind of the mystical / mythical kind of component of Islam. And it's not like a sect, it cuts across everything. Kind of and it's esoteric, so it's kind of like monks in Christianity, I guess, for a kind of simplistic analogy to something the audience might be more familiar with. But there's this notion that true knowledge, true intellect comes from within.
Yes.
So there's kind of a pushback against kind of modern sciences, because it's all external.
Yeah.
Right. So if
it's all only looking.
Yeah, and it's all also built on transient knowledge. When you're doing physics and stuff, you're building on the theories that came before you until you can disprove them.
Yeah.
Right. Which of course that would throw off everything and that's a whole crisis. But there's nothing internal about that, because you're building on everything you're working with is external. And psychology has become like that too. It started very internal with Freud and the neo-Freudians, Jung, we talked about earlier. You talk about the ego and stuff, and that's also mirrors a lot of and when that's all not, since it's not empirical,
exactly,
it can't be proven, and therefore it's useless because our society, Western society, has gotten to the
even
point.
Though oftentimes if you talk to someone, they will tell you there are parts of themselves that seem
exactly.
You can't truly have a plan without having seen it go do its full evolution. Documenting certain things, and okay, now this society builds, and it's yes, you discover a plan. It's well, do you really need people to tell you that?
It's the obsession with empiricism.
Yeah, it's
that
do you really need
now,
someone to tell you that you
has to be
discovered something that you found?
externally.
Yeah, it's you don't need to prove it to anyone else. That's the biggest part. What you talk about, that internal discovery. You can't explain that
because
to
you can't
else.
prove it, because it doesn't exist in the physical world.
That's something
essentially
that's
exactly.
That's part of your spirit, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I think part of this is me as a person might not be spiritual. I'm not a spiritual person, but that doesn't mean I go through every day with my internal world is the same as my external.
Exactly.
People mask, right? People present differently from what they're thinking. That already is a difference of worlds. You are already presenting something completely differently. So that can be even more deeper when you actively look inside.
I mean, speaking of spiritual stuff, I was raised Catholic, but by no means do I truly stand by that religion. I mean, I've always known that there was something out there, but I can't put it to just one
singular thing.
Yeah, to just one thing. Because here's the thing: there's so many cultures out there that believe in so many different things. I'm just who's to say what is right? But I know what I know. I'm just I know there's something out there, and it's just you don't truly need someone to tell you, hey, don't be an asshole. It's did you ever really need someone to tell you, oh, don't go fucking killing your mama?
Fortunately now in this day and age,
do you really need someone to tell you oh, don't go fucking R-wording someone?
You think we could agree that really killing children in the Middle East is bad?
Can we at least agree that killing people that have nothing to do with any conflict is bad? it's you. Like we don't truly need anyone to tell us this. Like that. Like your essence is like it's in you. It's in you. Like
As a human, you should.
like yeah, as a human, like
Yeah.
it's built into your essence. Like you don't like if you truly understand most of it, like you don't need church. Like your body is the church. Like if you understand true religion, like it's always been centered around the one self. Like it's always been like, hey, internalize you like that's why most people like most religions believe that everybody is God because everyone has some kind of God in them.
It all comes
And it's
down
like-
to connection, right? Connection to God, connection to others, right? It's
I mean, not even trying to get too deep into religion. I'm just talking in terms of like spirituality. I'm just like
I
saying,
know.
like,
I'm saying even in that sense,
'Cause
it's
that
a
helps with, like,
connection
finding
to the
yourself.
world itself, right? Is because the world we live in is constantly in flux, constantly changing, and you are too. You follow that same movement.
my
so by
biggest
that
thing.
same thing, you must understand yourself as much as you do the outside world.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because
My
if you
biggest
don't,
thing is that
you're
most
fooled.
people often tie finding themselves to a certain religion, whatever. But like, even I would go as far as to say, don't even try to tie your identity to a religion. Like,
And then that's the issue.
Your
Is you're not finding
religion-
yourself, you're finding your identity.
yeah,
And
like-
that's not the same.
no, like, yeah, like finding religion. That's all. That's cool and all, and that might help. But if you try to tie that to your identity, and like that's kind of where people kind of start like veering off the path. Just like, hey, you are separate from whatever you believe in. Like, yes, you can believe whatever you believe, but you as a human, you yourself, you have to take that time to understand what is it like, who you truly. Most hell, there are people in their 30s who don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Hell, people in their 50s, like there are actual grown man childs out here. Like,
They're living a life of just constant movement. There is no thought about the present because they only think about how can I make my future just a tiny bit better for me, no matter the cost.
Without
there's
looking
no
at how
cost
can
for
I
it.
make my present better for everyone around me.
Exactly.
Or myself. Yes.
Later on, like
That's where you have to start.
If you think in longevity, if you think in longevity, and if you really want, if you're the type that wants to be on this earth for a long time, if you want to make it to your 80s, your 90s, maybe even 100, humans are living longer, but that takes preparation in your 20s, 30s, 40s. Like you have to start learning how to take care of yourself, which is something that people kind of disregard because they're all in this grind or whatever. They're trying to chase something that's been kind of just shoved into your face, which is kind of like honestly fake.
Carrot on the stick situation.
Yeah. It's like hamster on a wheel chasing some cheese. It's just like, bro, like, yeah, like it's once like most people don't even realize that you have enough. Like all we live like most people like, bro, in America, we have more than enough, bro. Like if you have most people in other countries, like it's only like concerned about shelter and food.
Yep.
Most people in America who are out here chasing some shit that they don't really need to be chasing already have their shelter and they already know where their next meal is going to come from. If you have that, you're good. Everything else is just luxury, truly. And we kind of start to disregard that, and then we kind of start like taking advantage of people who don't even really have much, just so that we can get more. It's to seem like we're just that much closer to people that actually own everything. Like, bro, there's always like it's the same thing about like the thing in the gym. There's always gonna be someone who's bigger. There's always gonna be someone who has more money. If that's all you value yourself around, you're never gonna be happy. Like it's like how J. Cole's talking about like love yours. Like don't be looking around all that. The more you look around, like that's even part of like one of the commandments. Like I was raised Catholic, so it's like don't covet your neighbor's like thy neighbor's goods and all that stuff. Like bro, but here's the thing. You know what's funny about
Exactly.
but you know what's
True.
funny about capitalism? Coveting your neighbor's goods is what helps the economy. That's what Stimson says. Like
It's the point
he bought a new fucking Camaro, a new Ferrari. I want it.
Items equal status, right?
Yeah, it's
If
just
you
like-
own stuff.
That means if you own stuff, you're cooler. When you're at school, whoever owns the Gucci headband is the fucking cool person.
That high school mentality, though. And
I'm just like,
most people never get out of that high school mentality because, like, once you truly get out and you start to truly find out what matters, like, like finding yourself, figuring out what you like, finding someone who actually understands you rather than someone that looks good and you just want to fuck. Like,
Surrounding yourself with friends who actually care about you.
yeah, like once you start to do that, you start to truly feel the difference, and it's just like you start to understand that hey, life is not all about just this fucking
The biggest
like all
thing-
the like show and tell stuff. Like this is not like this is literally most people turn like capitalism turn life into a big old show and tell, and then everybody that sees the show they go and tell everybody else, and they're like, okay, now I can go make more money, so I can go do that, so I can hold my own show and what. It's like it's just a big old circle. Like, what are we doing?
The biggest thing is to find other people who are also on a path, right? It is recognized when people are understand that they're on a journey. You know, you're always on a path. You're always on a journey. You just need to understand that you are. It's not even where you are because that doesn't matter where you are. That's the thing is that people get too caught up with where they are. That's the issue. It's because it will never matter where you are because there is no true end, right? What is that end? What is that pinnacle? It doesn't matter. And when you see this cliche of like it was for the journey, you know, that's one of I hate that cliche because it's so overused,
Yeah.
but it's got so much truth to it because the memories you make in life
Mhm.
are from the journey. It's
Yep.
never from the end because that end is death. It
Yep.
always has been because that is the number one self-actualizer.
But-
Yeah.
If you think about it, with how life is, like we kind of created our own society separate from nature.
Yeah.
And if you think about it in nature, death is kind of like a release of some kind of
Yeah.
sort. Like you're no longer fighting.
That's used to be how we thought about it.
Like that's why like religions are always so obsessed with like we never had this much old people in ever. Like
Yeah.
people used to die by fucking 35,
That's
40.
why
Yeah, sure.
religions
There's a
are-
reason why like you had to respect your elders, bro. Like, cause like if you made it to like past, if you were 50 years old back in like the 1900s, 1800s, like shit, OG, what the fuck did you do? Like, how did you manage
True.
to get past all this fucking plague and
Oh,
shit?
exactly.
Yeah.
1800s, 1800s, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 1900s
before
too.
the Green
I
Revolution.
mean, 1900s too. Like people
Yeah.
forget, like before segregation, like 1900s was fuck.
Also, people would die young. Like you would have children. So many kids die. You
I mean,
would
yeah,
have
this was when there was no child labor laws.
And that's why a lot of like the prophets and the Abrahamic religions all
I mean,
lived
this
to
is why
very
there was
old
a time when
ages.
people didn't name their children until they were like 3 years old, until they knew that they were actually gonna live.
That's what they want to bring back now. They want to
Yeah,
bring
like-
back in the mines.
I saw that.
That's why
I saw that.
Minecraft movie came out.
They yearn for the mines.
Bring back manufacturing.
That's
you know?
what the Minecraft movie was in the psyop. How kids back
You're so right. Chicken jockey. That's what it really is about.
in Chicken jockey.
I never saw that movie.
Good.
I have not.
Has anyone at
Was
this
it
table
taco?
seen the
Does he say
Minecraft?
taco? You're the freaking. Oh my
I know.
Lord.
I
Do you
just
guys
know, I
what
just know the
taco
ad
is?
libs. I just know like Flint and Steel.
No. Do you know what he's saying? Taco.
No.
So people are making fun of like Dems are making fun of Taco Trump.
No,
Oh no! I know it's a lot of people.
all bullshit.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Democrats are taking that so literally by making free tacos. They're putting out free tacos to people, being like, "Haha, Trump is Taco Man." Why are we not actively doing something about him instead of giving people free
Okay.
tacos?
Dude, no, the Dems. I just saw a headline like last night from Democracy Now, and it was literally like the Colorado
retarded, I
governor,
Oh,
the
I'm sorry
he's
about that.
Democratic,
I apologize.
but the Colorado governor who's Democratic, what he just admitted to complying with the Trump administration and supplying
Yes.
data to ICE to remove Colorado citizens.
Mhm. Doge finally has access to all of our social.
Back to nature,
Yeah.
I think a lot of religions have interesting way of conveying nature, in a spiritual way. So the books I've been reading, which I've mentioned before, you can see like the face of God called Wajh in nature, and it's part of this idea that the heart has two eyes. This comes from Ibn Arabi. He's a thinker, from like the medieval era of Islam. And there's what's called the akal and the khayal. So akal is the like the rational thinking part of yourself, and the khayal it translates to like imagination. And that's more about feeling instead of like thinking rationally. And the idea is that much of the world today only uses akal. They only use reasoning or common sense, so to say. Like akal isn't.
I wouldn't even go that far. Most people don't have a common sense.
Yeah, but I think for a lot of us, we like, in this table, we think common sense. Damn. Okay. It did. But I think when we think of
I think it's fine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how far long ago it died.
I think
Yeah. I think people at this table might think that actually feeling is more common sense.
Yeah.
Because we think like things like empathy. I know you guys did an episode on empathy. Things like seeing the world, feeling with the world and the divine might seem like it, but common sense, but we've lost it, I think, in modernity. When we've replaced it with this overvaluing of reason. Like I talked earlier about how much we overvalue empiricism. Because like in Islam and also like in Hinduism and a lot of other religions, you kind of have multiple worlds, so to say. Like you have the physical in Islam, they call that the dunya. And then you have the unseen world, which is where God lives. It's where the jinn, like demons, angels, everything lives. And this is called the ghaib. And in between that, you have the khayal, which is also, so like, it means two things. So it means like, now we're using imaginary as in like a cosmological sense, not as like the eye of the heart. And that's kind of like in between. So we kind of interact with the unseen when like we dream, when we think, like and we've also kind of lost and that's where a lot of mysticism comes in, like myth comes in, when we've lost that as a global society with the advent of like Western philosophy. And I think we can get back to that. I think that would help a lot of things in the world in terms of emphasizing the feeling that
we're losing a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a clinical world, especially in a industry that's all about that. That's one of the biggest issues nowadays is people lacking trust in medicine, right? That is one of the biggest things as someone who is a med student who is trying to bring a spiritual, bridge that gap between spirituality and medicine, because it used to be the most spiritual people were our medicine people, were our healers, or mystic shamans in old African cultures, healers in Hindu cultures and Islamic cultures, Christians, Christian people, when the Christian and Muslim worlds were extremely entrenched together, a lot of them worked with like Islamic scholars and Christian scholars to come together to create, better understanding of the human body and medicine in general. So we've lost a lot of connection with spirituality in medicine. And that one of the biggest issues with that is you push away so many people that it's so easy to lose trust, because the moment something changes in rationality, because that's how science works, science works because when we do test, we change things once in a while and we look why it changed based off what we changed. That's good for very few things, because there's a lot of variables that a lot of the time we can't control. And the answer to that is not to try and grasp as much control as possible, right? There are limits to the human ability. And the biggest thing we need to do is understand that. So what we need to start bringing in is an understanding of spirituality, of mental healing. The buck doesn't stop with healing the physical body. It is by healing the mental and by focusing on that we can change anything in the physical, right? At some point, we're going to reach the end of what we can do in the physical realm, right? There's nothing we can do at some point. But it's understanding the power that your own mental, your own psychology, your own beliefs, and your idea of you as a person, as a being, to change that.
And just tie this back to our original point of the conversation. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back. Just let me cook. I'm gonna get us back. Okay. So in Sufism, like there's this idea that our soul is pure in a sense when we're born, right? We're born out of the like the womb of God, which is the Rahma, which is also where you get the same root for Rahman, which is compassion, right? And then we kind of lose that when we're born, not in like an original sin kind of way, like in Christianity, but in the rest of life is kind of like purifying your soul to get back to that state when you die, to join back with God in a sense. Kind of similar to like karma in Hinduism, except just in one lifetime. You don't get a second chance. You're done. You get one shot. If you fuck up, you're done. Right? You get one shot.
This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Thank you, Eminem.
Eminem was ahead of his time.
I think he was Muslim, definitely. Yeah.
Inshallah.
But when talking about doing what you love, because the internal self, which was originally at one point perfect because it was joined with God, by purifying the self, by making it better, you become a better human. Because humans aren't like animals in the sense, like scientifically, we're like, okay, yeah, we have like organs and like breathe air and stuff. But we're the only animals that can have a spiritual connection with something, or we're also the only animals that can have a rational thought. In that sense, like Descartes and stuff, they would understand, right? Big if.
Yeah, because personally, I believe elephants and whales are similar. I think elephants and whales hit arguably that spiritual ability. Like elephant graveyards, they will often come thousands of miles to the same place to respect their dead.
Yeah, and there's also, there's the sense that everything's created by God, and that there's kind of I think it's in the Quran, like animals like can like bow to God. There's like a couple of anecdotes about like some prophets could like understand animals, and it's like I saw this on YouTube, so don't this is like a huge grain of salt. I don't want to get called out by some scholar. But it was literally like someone asked like the son-in-law of the Prophet Ali, Ibn Abu Talib, and someone like he's like this like it was like a Jewish priest. It's like, what does like the sparrow say? And he's like, oh, the sparrow sings Alhamdulillah or something like that. So like I don't know like how like true that is, but it is like the Prophet Suleiman could listen to birds. That was King Solomon from the Bible. But purifying the self, in a sense, can bring you closer, and learning more about the self can bring you closer to a more spiritually fulfilling life, but also more personally fulfilling life as well. And I think if you pick say like, oh, I really need money, like I need to get away from my family or something, so I'm going to pick a career that gets a lot of money but doesn't necessarily fulfill that, especially if like in the STEM field or something. I think you need to make time outside of that 9 to 5 to like find something that feeds your internal self. And because I don't think, except for maybe like religious studies, I don't really think anything would do that for you. I think you get closer to the liberal arts in a sense, because you're learning more about humanity. But that's at like a macro level. We're talking about like at the internal level, right?
That's interesting. Maybe in general, read more.
That's a great advice. That's just great advice.
I personally think if you want to open up your internal world,
just read
about some other internal worlds. Arguably, that is what a book is. It is its own world.
And read about other spiritualities.
Yes.
Read about how, because
don't box yourself.
Yeah, one of the biggest things is that you have to understand that other religions didn't start for no reason, right? A lot of this works off of human connection. That's crazy. Capitalism is a religion. Yeah. But the point is that every religion has truths within it. Every religion bases off of things that are true. You're not finding a following without holding some truths. So learn whatever you can. Learn for the sake of learning. Find love in knowing. That's one of the biggest things. Because all of our lives, we will go through not knowing everything. So know as much as you can. Know as much as you can so that you know who you are. Flesh yourself out.
I would say like seek with your heart. Yeah.
I think that's both very good points, and I want to thank you both for being here today. I think that's a pretty good spot to start, winding down. In general, we want to conclude in just a quick talking of happiness is a goal in life, and that's something we are all constantly working with. but it doesn't always have to be the only goal.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, the goal at the end of the day is fulfillment. So once you find something that you might not find your fulfillment in it immediately, but as long as you know that you feel like you're on the right path, you'll be set. Yeah, as long as you have to plan a plan and you feel like you're on the right path, like I feel like you should be set. Honestly,
I would say understanding yourself is probably the most powerful thing you can pursue. So I would say find something that helps you understand yourself a little bit more and understand the world a little bit more. It doesn't just put you in some little box. Especially, I mean, I feel like a cubicle is a perfect metaphor for that.
yeah, in the world, you can kind of figure out where your place is in that world, essentially who you are, what's your standard place around you.
And the biggest thing for me is your world is what you make of it, right? Put effort into your world will reward that effort. That is one of the biggest things. It is never easy to do work ever in your life. But if you like what comes out of that work, that's the only point of it. It's not even results oriented. It is love what happens because it happens.
Well, thank you guys so much. That's been the Common Podcast. We'll see you next time.